Looking for new games or classics? At Noble Knight, you get both. Buy games on release date and discover used and out-of-print gems, with out-of-print gems and day one pre-orders in one cart. Mix new and used to stretch your budget, then sell or trade the titles you're done with, and keep your shelf fresh. Browse board games, RPGs, board games, minis, and CCGs. Head to nobleknight.com to find your next favorite and buy games your group will play again. Hello and welcome to episode 83 of the Board Game Geek podcast, where we geek out about board games, the mechanisms behind them, and the people who create them. I'm your host, Amanda Panda, along with my friend and lovely human, AnnaMaria Jackson Phelps.
Hello.
Good to have you. I am currently sitting in her house right now because we just had PhelpsCon. Now, we met at Dice Tower West in 2020, right?
Yes.
That was
before times.
Yeah, right at the end of the before times, as weird as that sounds. But then I knew you through Girls Game Shelf.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, what a wonderful group of ladies.
That was an amazing experience.
Yeah.
I had done a little content before Kiki and I linked up. I actually interviewed Kiki initially as I got more and more into content creation and she got more into video. It just seemed kind of natural that the two of us would link up and work on it together. And it was a great run. We did some great things. I feel like a lot of great people joined us on that adventure and then spun off and are doing fun things in the board game industry even now. So I think it was just it was a really beautiful group of women making really cool stuff.
Yeah, and you're still touching lives. Like, your videos are still up. People are still watching. Little girls are finding their way into board games, which is absolutely lovely. Yeah. But then recently, last few years, you started Violet Daisy Games.
Yeah. Swung over to the publishing side, which felt very natural to me after kind of watching the process, playing lots and lots of prototypes, going more and more design jams and that sort of thing, working with the people who were working on the games. It just felt very natural to want to move into kind of uplifting voices through publishing and not just content creation. So yeah, that was the big reason for getting that started.
Yeah, and your games center around getting people to the table and the experiences around them. I was brought on as the community manager, and so that was absolutely lovely. It's sometimes you're like a little worried to, work with your friends, but we have a great relationship working and otherwise. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think working with you in particular, has made the entire experience of Violet Daisy Games so much easier because I trust you and I feel like you trust me.
Absolutely,
and so the two of us kind of almost intuitively know, okay, project's coming up, this needs to be done. And I don't have to worry about your side because you've got it.
Yeah.
So, and that is a very comforting feeling when you're running a small business, to really know that you can let something go and give it to someone who's a professional and they will take care of that for you and it's just off your plate. So it has been joyful not just to work with you professionally, but to have you as one of my closest friends. So yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Well, thank you so much for, trusting me. I think that's one of the hardest things about being a small business owner is to let go and trust other people with parts of your baby,
Yeah, absolutely.
And how is it different, like, that you've kind of peeked behind the scenes and now you're working behind the scenes? Was it completely different than you thought it was? Was it like very similar?
I think there's aspects in running any business that are the not fun bits.
Yeah.
And those are the when we talk about peeks behind the curtain, those are probably not the things that one typically thinks about when you think about publishing a game. We think about game development and getting to do play tests and going to con to demo games and working with lots and lots of great artists in different fields, from graphic design, art, even I would consider you an artist in social media, but then there's how much money does it cost to produce one green meeple, and this is the weird minutia, the wizard pulling the lever part of publishing that's maybe fun, but in a very different way. You know, fun like an Excel spreadsheet is fun. Which some days is not as fun as the actual playing of games, but it's still just such an interesting piece of how you use consumerism and consumption overall, but particularly how we produce games for a mass market in this day and age. I still find it very, very interesting.
Yeah, I feel like the one thing that people forget when they do their own business is that you have to have management skills, and if you don't, hire someone with good management skills.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or whether that be human management or project management, you need that management skills, and also contracts are very important.
Yes.
And people are still doing like, oh, we'll just verbally contract you.
No. Even if you're working with one of your closest friends, a contract will both protect both of you and makes it very clear what expectations are.
Mhm.
And I know you alluded earlier to sometimes it's hard to work with friends. And I think that the reason that is because expectations are not laid out.
Mm.
You know, I need you to do this job. On the surface, that seems very simple, but what does that job entail?
Right.
You know, you manage the community for Violet Daisy, you do the social media for Violet Daisy, and that means, that posts need to be done in regular, that we need to interact with our community regularly. You know, there's a whole list of things that goes into it, which we've laid out in a contract.
Right.
So there's that understanding. And I think that's also where a lot of the trust comes in then, because we have that contract in place, because those expectations are very well detailed. I can then trust you to fulfill those expectations because I don't have to come back later and say, oh, when I said social media, I meant post on blah, 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 X times a week about so-and-so. It's all there. It's written in. And if anything, then if the ball is dropped, it's easy to go back to that and go, okay, well, here's where I outlined that. Oh, I understand now, and then the communication is a lot easier than both parties being frustrated because those things weren't clearly defined.
Yeah, and especially since certain jobs have a lot of things that details work that you don't necessarily assume or know about. For instance, social media, community management, you have to actually make the graphics. That's a graphic design, you have to take the pictures. That's photography. A lot of managers don't realize that's part of the job. If you're going to go into social media, like we outlined that I wouldn't do the graphics, you would. And then so that it would be, off my plate. And then all I'm doing is interacting, posting regularly and replying. But, managers don't realize that, creating the graphic, taking the pictures, editing, all that takes a lot of time. Not just about posting, and replying to people.
For sure.
Yeah. So it's like when a manager or someone doesn't do the work, they don't realize all the minutia, all the different steps that need to go into the workflow process. And then they don't realize the value of that job.
Oh, yeah. I've met some people that are part of larger board game publishers who don't exactly get, or who didn't, and I talk and a little bit generationally, some folks that are even a little older than I am who are kind of like, oh, the social media, that just means put it on the Facebook, right? Or put it on Instagram. And they don't really see the value because they don't understand how you're interacting with the community in that, and all the work that has to go to in every step, understanding algorithms, understanding what makes a post something that people want to interact with, how many steps it takes to make a successful reel, a successful TikTok, a successful Instagram post, and whether that is, like you say, graphic design or photography or any number of things that go into, just what seems like one very simple social media post. There's a lot of thought behind it and a lot of creativity and work behind it. And there's value in that. So I think it's an important part of the board game marketing process.
Absolutely. Can you talk about what games have come out of Violet Daisy?
Sure. Let's see. Our first one was You Don't Meet in a Tavern. It is a book of RPG prompts to get your adventure started. The second one we worked on, well, actually, I want to step back for a second because our very first one was a collaboration. It was called Shelf Care, and it was a coloring book. I'm a member of the art community myself, and I've been very, very lucky to work with a lot of great artists in this industry. And so I worked with Tim Devine on putting together a book that features coloring pages from 25 different artists in the board game community. It was a great project. It was a love project. And I'm still really, really proud of it because highlighting the art and the importance of art in board games between the aesthetic and how you even interact with a game or what makes you purchase a game, I think is a really big deal. And sometimes I think we don't give enough credit to the artists and the graphic designers in games and how much that influences both whether or not you even purchase a game, but also how you play a game and how a game makes you feel. So we started with Shelf Care. Then there was Tavern. Epilogue by Emma Larkins came next. It is a sweet little storytelling game about the end of your life. You die. I love talking about it like this because it seems like that would be a very heavy topic. And it can be if you choose your story to go like that. But for the most part, these stories that people weave together through the game become very farcical and hilarious. And there's a lot of laughter in there. And I think there's a lot of meaning in it because you are creating that story with your group of people. So, and I think as humans that we connect through storytelling, and when we form stories together, we make more connections with people. I love that game. And then the one we currently have with Mob Vanguard now, and they're seeking licensing overseas, is Popcats Fighter by Estefania Rodriguez, which is a really cute one-on-one fighting game in think of like Street Fighter or something like that, the old school retro arcade feel, but they're cats. So it's got these adorable cat figures by Arnell Balut. Yeah, I'm sorry, Arnell. Arnell's art is so great. I even have a tattoo Arnell designed for me on my body. So that's how much I love his work. And it just adds so much fun to this game because Steph has put together this really fun, it evokes the feel of doing the kind of Street Fighter-esque, I punch you, you punch me back, we're just,
we do that move.
Right, yeah, fatality, whatever. But Arnell's little cat art just really kind of makes the whole thing sing, because it goes from being really more cutthroat and competitive to a little bit cute and friendly.
Yeah, accessible.
Yeah, there you go. I think that's a really good way to play it because you've demoed with me this game several times, and we get kids that play it.
Yeah,
kids that have never played that style of fighting game for sure, and they get really into it. And the parents think that it's really cute as well. So, and then right now under my belt, I'm working on a sequel to Tavern. She's got a way to go.
Now, the topic we decided to talk about today is what did we get out of the games? What compels us to play them? And if you want to, join in on the conversation, reply, comment, and I'll try my best to get that to you. But I know you really are about the social interaction, right?
Yeah, it's part of the reason I started Violet Daisy was like you said, to bring people together around the table. So a lot of what I like to play involves how I'm going to interact with the people at the table. I love smack talk, but in a good way, never personal, always very specific to the game or the person. But it really is about getting to sit down at a table with a group of people that I love and share a really cool experience. So whether we're solving a puzzle together or we're actually fighting each other or whatever, that to me is my major drive in playing games. It didn't used to be though. I was highly competitive as a kid.
What?
Surprise!
No. What?
very geeky and really into things that weren't, it's not that they weren't socially acceptable, but they weren't, something that a little girl in the 90s was supposed to be into, right?
Yeah.
So being able to play games and play tough games with my dad, with my family and with other kind of geeky kids was a really great outlet for me to kind of just, to be a math nerd, to be a puzzle nerd and have it be acceptable in that context. So that was probably into my late 20s. The reason for playing games was so that I had an outlet for that nerdy Excel spreadsheet living side, as it were. By the time I hit my 30s, had a family, had some kids and stuff, it became a lot more about socializing as a parent, as someone in their 30s who has a job, gets a lot harder because we don't have as much time to seek out friendships. So being part of gaming groups and playing games was a big way that I found good social outlets and made friends.
Yeah.
So that really twisted things on its head for me. I think as well, video games have grown so much since the 90s. And so I can get my competitive outlet out through that. And then I can use board games in particular to just like hang out with my friends and have some coffee, eat some really great food, like this whole weekend. So much food.
Yeah.
And just chat and poke a little fun at each other and have fun.
Yeah. I was a only child, and in the South, you learn how to chit chat, as an only child, the way I got more friends, got, some kind of icebreaker to interact with people, not just my own age, but like babysitters and stuff, was through board games.
Oh, nice.
And so, so that happened. But then in my adulthood, after college, one of my coworkers, I got her into board games. So it's just me and her playing like 2-player games. I mean, we played everything 2-player, but it was like the best, right? Because that really bonded us, and it made us comfortable with each other around the table. And then you got into more deeper talks. But now, we're both busy. It's more of a way to interact with with strangers, because I think as an adult, I'm more conscious, more awkward, interesting enough, than as a child. You don't have that fear as much as a child. I still had it because we moved around a lot. So, but now it's like even harder to make friends as adults. Especially you don't have that, you always in school at the same time, or you're always in, I work from home, so you're not always at work. So it was a way for me to actually meet people. I feel like the games allow you to focus on something rather than the person. So it's not that pressure that someone's staring at you. You can still listen to someone while you're playing a game.
No, absolutely. My partner talks about this a lot because he is more introverted than I am. But games give him an outlet to get to know people. And some of our closest friends as a couple have come through gaming.
Yeah.
Because like you say, there's something to focus on.
Yeah.
So he doesn't feel like there's a lot of attention on him personally. But then he can, get a gauge for the things that people like, or, the way that their mind moves as they're playing a game, So I think it's a great starting point for getting to know someone.
Yeah.
Especially something like Clover, which we played a crap ton this weekend.
Yeah.
And I think you really learn how someone's brain works when you play like a word game with them.
Oh my God, yeah. Or like even what they're thinking when they make assumptions.
Yes.
When they're talking about the discussion of it, I'm like, you don't know me, or like, yes, I've never met you before, but we are on the same wavelength. Hell yeah, yeah.
Why are you in my brain?
I know. Oh my God, we're twinsies. Now there's so many different types of games. You have the social aspect games. You have the, war fighting games. You have, but man, the puzzle, of strategic games, puzzly games. I just love that. And I think it's just the part of my brain that wants to learn or wants to figure things out. But just, I love that puzzly part of games. And I feel there's just people that wants to constantly learn. And it's no longer socially acceptable to be a constant student in school with all the debt that student loans, you know, and
Sure.
how much university costs nowadays. So I love that the games kind of give you that as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I would rank them right up with things like reading novels, you know, or even doing secondary education courses or, you know, university classes for when you're learning new mechanics, when you're learning new stories. All of these things are helping grow your brain and make you think in a different way, the same way a new story would. You know, when you finish a really good book and you feel like you learned something both about, you know, maybe the author, you know, or yourself by the time you're done it. And I think really good games can do that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were talking earlier about the stereotypical gamer. And I think that was like the nerdy, kind of geeky person.
Yeah. And I don't think that's true. I don't think it's been true for quite some time, but certainly with the kind of advent of modern board gaming, you know, we walk around cons. You go to a ton more than I do, but even I do. And it's not the faces that you see and the people who are sitting down at the table. Easily a third of them are not who comes to mind when you say gamer, you know, and I think everybody there's a game for everyone. Yeah. And everyone's getting something a little different out of gaming. And that's why I think anybody could be a gamer. I think anybody could be a reader. I think anybody could be a gamer. Because I think that we have so many different types of games that whatever you're into and whatever reason you're into it, which I think is the more interesting part, whatever you're into, you can find that. Yeah. But the reason that you're into it is, I think, something we don't talk about as much as, you know, we talk about how games like Elizabeth's Wingspan brought in so many birders, right? And, you know, so if you like birds, there's a game for you. And if you like, you know, really intricate puzzles, there's a game for you. But I'd love for us as a community to talk more about like why people need games. You know, we just talked about we needed to scratch our little scientific nerdy itch. Some people need that part. Some people need the social outlet of it purely. Some people just need the creativity of playing a role-playing game where they get to build a character and a story around that. There's so many different reasons that people play games beyond just, I really like the colors on this box. Yeah. And I think it's cool to kind of think of it as almost a little social puzzle. So yeah.
That is true. That's very true. You're gaming the game.
Oh, wow. No.
So many layers to this game. The gaming industry. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. I think one of the reasons why it has to be true is we have so little time, you know, these days. Yeah. With air quotation marks. But, you know, when we're talking about like modern society in most of the world, we have very little time beyond work, family, you know, other obligations, and that we choose to game says something about something that our brain says we need, just like the types of food you eat or the, you know, or the type of environments that you want to be in and find comforting. There's a reason why you seek gaming out, and whether or not that's as simple as I just need to feel like I'm smart for the next 30 minutes because I won this game, you know, or if it's a deeper, I don't have time to paint a picture. But through the course of this game, I can create a story with somebody in the next hour. Yeah. That's important. That's important to us as humans, not just even for the connection with other people, but understanding ourselves. Yeah, absolutely. You know, so.
And it's funny because we are entrenched in the gaming industry. And so we know games are for adults. Like board games, strategic board games, modern board games, mainly are for adults. And then there is the children's variant that we touch upon. But for, I think most people, they think it's a children's toy. It's only for families with kids that are young enough that still want to play games with you, you know? Like being in this, it just flipped for me. And I think that when the U.S. culture kind of has that flip and realizes, then man, that'd be a crazy boom to our industry. Because the German, the German culture, board games are for adults or for everyone, you know?
Yeah, I think it's an unfortunate byproduct of many of capitalism in the United States in particular, that things that aren't productive do not have value. And whether or not that is watching television shows, playing video games, playing board games, sitting around for hours and reading books or painting miniatures or something, we don't, and when I say we, I mean U.S. culture, does not place as much value on something that is not seen as producing a good or making money or something like that. So in a better future, when this country sees rest and self-care and people being comfortable with themselves in a better light as a better thing, better than, commerce, then I think we will see an even bigger swing towards gaming as adults, more tabletop, more opportunities for people to do tabletop gaming and not have to take 2 days off of work so that they can go rush to a con to try and play as many games as they can, because they can't normally do that during their usual work week.
Yeah.
So balance, I think, is key here. And we certainly need more balance in a lot of things in the U.S. But when it comes to work life, I think that's a big one. So yeah, to your point, I think that when we see more balance here, we're going to see a big swing of people doing things. We saw it in such a small little bit of time during the pandemic.
Yeah.
When people did have that time, and suddenly almost everybody went and started baking. You had celebrities learning board games and then posting to their TikTok that, oh my gosh, I got this game. I think of Mandy Patinkin, like trying to get through the Wingspan rules in particular. And I miss that. Not that to be clear, I do not miss the pandemic. But I think we got a glimpse of what life could be here if we valued our free time as we valued free time as human beings as much as we value work time. So I'm a big advocate of maybe not even just balance. How about a little bit more free time than we do work time?
Yeah. I mean, losing that 2-hour, commute and having that time to do other things was,
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we were talking about a little bit of RPGs, and RPGs always remind me that board games, tabletop games really evoke emotion in us. Not just thought of the puzzle, but also emotion with playing the game, but also interacting with each other.
Yes.
And I love how Violet Daisy game games really help you connect and evoke motion and stuff like that. But also the first thing that comes to my mind when you talk about tabletop games and emotion is that flip the table rage. But sometimes that's a very strong emotion.
It is a strong emotion that I rarely have anymore. It certainly used to come up a lot more when it's a lot more competitive. But even now, sometimes, I mean, just as much as you can love a game and it can scratch every single little itch that you have in your brain that you want, or make you feel cozy, cup of tea, a comforter wrapped around you. You will find the occasional game that just makes you want to kind of rage out and throw it off the balcony, set fire to things. But I think that's interesting too. I mean, nobody necessarily seeks out those feelings, but it is interesting when you do get those feelings to think, okay, what is it about this in particular that really made me angry? What was it that I disliked so much that this emotion came up? And so how does that translate to other things in my life then? If the cooperative nature of having to do this part of this game made me angry, does that make me angry when I have to do it in a workplace setting? Am I having to tamp down frustration when I have to do it in a family setting? And how do I control that better? How do I maybe change that or talk to myself to make that feel a little better to me, which not only makes me a little bit better gamer, or certainly better to play with, but I think maybe makes me a better person in the long run. So games could make us better people.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think people realize how we express ourselves or vent through board games and the emotions that board game evoke and which games we choose to play. I think it'd be cool if we could really reflect and use that board game time to understand ourselves and understand how we can deal with emotions as well, because I don't think we teach people. We don't teach children. We don't teach each other. We don't learn about it in school, how to deal with emotions in a more productive way, right?
Yeah, certainly not in the U.S. I know places like Denmark that they specifically talk about how we interact with people, you know, how we get senses of contentedness in ourselves. But wouldn't it be interesting to keep a game journal for a year, you know, maybe 6 months even? Play a game every day and then write down the things that you felt. And then go back and go, okay, what are the mechanics in this game? What are the themes? You know, who did I play with? So why did I feel this way about this game? And now what of these mechanics? What is the social aspect? What is the aesthetic in my real life? Does that evoke the same thing? That would be so, there's a dissertation in there somewhere for somebody. So, I got a research project for you.
There you go. Yeah.
Get some funding.
Just credit us, okay? There's certain games that are specifically, I guess, designed to do that as well a little bit. But most people don't like gravitate to those. But any game, any interaction, you know, you can reflect upon. So it's very interesting. PhelpsCon just happened, right? Yeah. It was a 3-day gaming marathon at your home. You had a whole bunch of friends over. I flew up. You had a longtime friend also that flew up. Yeah. And it was absolutely amazing. So much fun. We had so many people at the house. We had so many dogs.
We did. We had 5 dogs at least one day. Yeah. And Auntie Amanda is a favorite of my dogs in particular because she is the giver of snacks.
Treats.
Always. So the girls know that Amanda's a light touch when it comes to treats.
I know.
So they're always very, very happy to see her show up.
I know. I can't help it. The puppy eyes. They're like, come on. Yeah. I loved it. It was a little bit of chaos, but also it was amazing.
It was the good kind of chaos. Yeah. Even now, as I'm tired, like there's no moment when that I can think of and would change. Yeah. Or different number of people, or maybe if we'd done this or that. No, even at its most chaotic, it was a good time.
Yeah. It's kind of like a convention too. Yes. Like, I'm always tired. I'm always working, but it's a great time because you're just around the right people, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about 5 games that were highlights of PhelpsCon, whose tagline is "Love is not victory by action." PhelpsCon, love is not victory. I know, it's like, oh, I love you, but you gotta win with me. Let me win.
Yeah. A lot of the people that we're both friends with, we love each other very much. But also when you sit down at the table, like that's going to set aside for a second. So we love, actually, you know what? I'm going to change that because I think people sometimes equate love with maybe letting someone win. At the game table means, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to let you win or something. We love each other enough to understand that we all want to do our best. And so we're striving to not only do our best, but encourage our friends to do our best. So while the tables here are very competitive, it is with a lot of love. I mean, there is some love and victory.
There is a little
bit. Sometimes, you know, you might want to throw Benny off the balcony because the Crokinole was bad. But I'm not saying anything. Don't say something.
Yeah. Or it's so funny because there was points where we were helping each other and then someone's like, no, this is not a cooperative game. Stop it. You're cheating.
But then the funny part to me was always whoever was the most cooperative in a couple of cases would win. Specifically, I was just thinking of a variant of a game that Beth Sobel has been messing around with that Kiki was probably the nicest person about letting people take cards from her. Yeah. And then she won the game.
I know, because we reciprocated. Yeah.
So sometimes that's the key.
Yeah, there you go. And sometimes no.
Sometimes no.
Yeah, exactly. So do you want to go first? Do you have yours in any order? I don't have mine in any specific order.
I'm going to start with the most surprising game of the con was Crokinole. We had some friends bring their big time Crokinole players. They brought their Crokinole bowl. That'd be an interesting game if it was a bowl, right?
Yeah.
They brought their Crokinole bowl. I said it again. If you're not familiar, it is a flicking game that's similar to, I would say, maybe shuffleboard and pool put together.
Yeah.
I've been familiar with this game since I lived in the Midwest. It's a huge deal at Geek Week to the West every year. Big tournament, but never got into it. Never really got it. And for whatever reason, we set it on the table. I thought, okay, I'll learn this. And I mean, it took seconds. The first couple shots. And I was like, I would sit and do this all day long.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost dangerous in a way for this to be around me, because I'm still thinking about, oh, I could shoot it this way. Oh, I could try it this way. I could do this. And it's fun to me to find something that is so simple. It's just flicking little tiles and trying to hit somebody else with them.
Yeah.
And yet it scratched all those good places in my brain. It reminded me, I play a lot of bocce since I was a kid and still as an adult. It really evoked that memory for me of getting to play bocce with like my grandfather and all his old cronies. In all the same ways, because you start a little smack talk and, oh, you can't make that, you can't hit me, I'm gonna get you, sort of thing. And games are super quick, so we got in, I think all told that got played probably 20-25 times this weekend by different people.
Yeah,
because everybody at some
teams.
point, everybody was like, oh, you got to teach me this, because I keep seeing everyone play it. So Crokinole, big surprise. Really like that.
Oh, that's great. I have multiple people around me that love it, but man, Crokinole is, for me, I will play it, but it's not one of those things that I'll be like, yes.
Really?
Yeah. It's just it's partly team, but also partly, well, whenever I do like a team play, I feel bad when I let someone down. And it's a dexterity game. And so like I can't math it out. I can't like do my best because I know I'm terrible at dexterity and hand-eye coordination. So
I'm going to add, I'm not any good at it.
Sure. But it's fun.
But I get it, yeah.
When you get those trick shots that just happen, you're like, yeah! Oh my gosh, there's so many times y'all just started yelling and you're like, okay, something happened.
You feel like a genius.
Yeah, when it was just luck. No, I'm kidding. For me, my number one will be Electropolis for 2 to 4 players from a Homo Sapiens Lab, an Asian publisher. So the designers are Chang Yu Di, Wang Ling, Ku Chung Wei. I'm very bad these are all Asian names, but they're spelled in English words, so I don't know exactly.
Does it make it harder?
Yeah. Well, for me, because if it was the pinging, which is the actual sounds,
right,
I can actually sound it out. But like when they have an X, sometimes an X and SS, and X is not an X. You know, like I was like, when an X is not an X, I have no idea what's going on. But this is a fun one. I mean, Casey and Miguel, it's so good to see them. If you don't know, Casey is Brain in the Jar, and Miguel is Johnny Deathhawk. Amazing people. They used to be more prevalent on Twitch and Instagram, and you can still see Brain in a Jar do Instagram stories. Electropolis is one that I've always seen around. I've always wanted to play. It is a drafting and tableau builder, but you're kind of betting how many tiles you're going to draft. And if you want to get more tiles to put into your tableau, then you go last. You draft last. If you want to draft, first, you have to draft less tiles. And it's about generating electricity for your city. So you have to make coal plants. You have to make nuclear plants. You have to, if you want the cleanest energy without any pollution, you do wind turbines and stuff.
Is that why we kept hearing y'all say you've just called all your people?
Yeah. Well, because you have to get the approval of the people about how much pollution they will take. And if you overpollute and don't have enough approval, you're just losing 20, 30 points. And This is like, what the hell, Yeah. And then there's City Hall, which helps you approve and stuff. And you can only build in certain quadrants based on the cards that you draft as well. And that's also based on the turn order. And so it's very interesting puzzle. I really like it. I'll have to go and hunt a copy down because it's such a good game. Right. It's a great puzzle and I really enjoy it. It's pretty basic to look at, but I found with Asian games, we were talking about art in Asian games and gaming in general, but in Asian games, you can't really tell how the game's played based on the art itself.
Interesting.
Yeah, like in American games, most of the time, if it's a cozy, cute art, you're like, oh, okay, it's gonna be a cozy, cute game. A little puzzling maybe. But if it's like a dark art, you're like, okay, that might be more area control, might be more fighting. But with Asian games, you never
You're
know.
still mad about Shark Beds.
I am still mad about Shark Beds. That's not an Asian company. They did Surfosaurus Max. It's a cooperative poker style game where you're cooperating to make the best poker hand. And only the people that have placed a card in the poker hand that wins the highest poker hand gets points. But you're cooperatively because you're all playing down cards, right? So it's like you're all discussing, well, no, we can do it straight flush if we all go for this one. And you're like, no, let's do, all tens. Come on, we have like 4 tens out there. And so you're doing that negotiation and you're putting out cards that have really vibrant art on it, and different symbols. But then you're a little dinosaur. The start player is a little dinosaur surfing on a surfboard in front of you. And then that one moves to see who's the start player every
time. That's really cute.
And then the game I saw at Essen that we're talking about was the cards all had a butt on it somewhere. But the pearl inside the shell, the pearl is the butt. And then they had the start player marker was a shirt with its mouth open and the hole in the mouth like perfectly aligned with all the butts. And I was like, the shark eating butt game. No, it's a shedding game. It's just a basic shedding game. I was like, why? Oh man. Or like we played Ghost Lift.
Yes.
And I guess it's more thematic, but it's not as dark as you think because you're not trying to collect ghosts on this very dark elevator that just goes up and down with all these like dark art, and it's a pretty easy shedding game.
Yeah,
it's a light shedding game with a very dark theme.
Yeah, which is so interesting because since the primary mechanic is just to make these numbers go up and down again, it could be anything that goes up and down.
Yeah,
it could be the surf, it could be roller coasters, it could be planes, it could be and why ghosts? I don't know.
Yeah. I always feel like you should play a game regardless if you like the art or not.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know if it just scratches that itch. So yeah, my number one was Electropolis from Homo Sapiens Lab. What was your number 2?
Well, Crokinole was the most surprising. I didn't number them by 1 through 5 Star Wars. I have 5 that I liked for different reasons.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. My favorite game, though, this will be my favorite, was Brian Boru.
Oh my gosh. That one's a rage. Flip the table for me.
I like area control.
Yeah, I don't.
Love trick taking.
Oh, I love
my family of old card gamers. So the combination of those 2 mechanics had already interested me. But I was most interested because this is one of my friend Fortessa's favorite games. Mm-hmm. So, I love to play people's favorite games because I think it gives me a lot of insight to both their brain and how they play games. Fortessa and I have a long-standing game rivalry. So I also wanted to see how bad she'd beat me. I play Arc Nova with her and her partner James every other week on BGA. Mm-hmm. And Fortessa and James are always first and second. My partner Ben is always third. And then my competition is just to see if I can do better than I did 2 weeks previously. I'm not even in the running. We're playing Arc Nova, so they're building these wonderful zoos that are like Australian Zoo or San Diego Zoo. And I am literally making the one lady who has a petting farm that's like a sheep and a donkey. That's the best I can do. So Brian Boru, area control, trick taking. But the real twist on this is there's no point where you're not receiving something. So you never feel like, with a lot of trick takers, you're like, I didn't take any hands. I didn't take any books. I'm going to mess up. With area control, I can't get this land. I didn't get that city. But this game really balances. If you're losing something, you are still getting something. Okay. There's never any point. If you lose the hand, there are still things for you to choose from to still get.
Okay.
So I think as an accessible game for people who are kind of new to both those two mechanics, trick taking and area control, and B, moving into tougher Euro strategy kind of area control, heavier mechanics. It's really accessible in that because you don't feel bad even if you're not doing well. The art, the box art is great. The art of the board is very simple, and I found that accessible as well visually. I think we've moved into making our boards so elaborate that it's hard to see things sometimes. And has someone who's now 50, sitting at the end of a game table away from the board, it was still very easy to see every one of the symbols, every one of the areas. It really, and the strategy builds, because initially you're just like, oh, I want a city there. I want to take this trick so I can get this. But later you're not just thinking, okay, I don't want this area, but I do want the consolation prize. But I don't want them to get the consolation prize because I don't want her to get this. So there's this multi-layered strategy going on exactly how you try and play these tricks out to get your points. And I was just delighted the entire game, even from the get-go, at how it balanced as a player, for a player, the way that you feel towards the game. Nobody wants to feel bad.
That's true.
And I feel like in a lot of, when you get into really heavier strategy games, there are going to be moments where you don't feel good. Something's going to happen, you're going to lose something, and you're just going to want to sit and pout. And I don't think there was not a single moment in that game, even when, someone took my city, this happened. And I was like, it's okay, because now I'm going to get to marry the Viking princess and, take over the Viking towns. It's an elegant gameplay and a combination of two mechanics I love, but also for just genuinely thinking about the player experience. I would play Brian Boru every day, every single day. It was that good to me.
That's so funny because we had two totally different experiences. I mean, I don't like area control because I get that bad feeling when people steals my stuff, right? But I played it with Jackie Fox and Candace Harris. Two very smart ladies. And it was all our first time. But man, I felt like, what's going on? I was like so lost. I was so down. I was like, everyone's winning everything and I can't get at least one trick. It was very frustrating. I was like, oh my gosh. I finished it. Of course I came in last, but I was like, I'm flipping the table on this game. I mean, if I could play Rococo, which I also don't like, 5 times, I think I should give Brian Boru another chance. And maybe play with Fortessa and see how it differs.
It might be worth it. I also appreciated that at the end. I think we were 34, 33, 32.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, the scores were that close. I will throw in there, Fortessa, if you're listening. Oh, I did win. So.
Good job. That's right. I guess Fortessa.
Which anytime you can win against Fortessa is a big deal. So, but it was super close. Like literally one tiny thing would have changed the outcome of the game. So, and I think that's great balance.
Yes, absolutely.
So that was Brian Boru.
That's awesome.
Good. Yeah. So good.
My next game, I think you love. I got you into, which is Duck and Cover.
Yeah.
For 2 to 7 players. From, I'm going to butcher this name, Usoma Kalifati. I'm terribly sorry. That was horrible. From Captain Games. And it is for 2 to 7 players, but there's a 8th player artist pack that you could do. And it's basically bingo, but you're covering cards that give you points because whatever splash points are still visible, you get those, and you don't want points. You want the lowest score possible. You're trying to basically get everything into one pile by, combining and covering the stacks and the numbers, but very bingo-esque, very easy to get together and play and teach. And it was crazy. We played it with 2 copies of the game and played 14 people.
So good.
That was
chaotic.
Amazing.
But so much cracking.
I loved it. Yes, because if you cannot move a number because you've already covered it. You quack, and when everybody quacks, that's the timer for the game. So we're like, oh, we'll just do like a 7-player 4. No, we never got through one full quack like of everyone quacking. So I think you can play at 14 players. The ending trigger is not the same as a
For sure.
game. Yeah.
Because we played it at 14 and we played it at 6. And in the 14 game, every time we ended, somebody had got the staff of 1.
Yeah.
And when we did the 6, nobody did.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to me that having 2 decks, it completely changed how that game ended every time.
And I just did 1 deck worth of calling cards, which is double. Also, it was very interesting to me that in a 14-player deck, I never had to reshuffle the calls. But in a 6-player deck, I actually reshuffled the calling deck.
Yeah.
Which was interesting to me, too. I was like,
that's so neat how player count affects things.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Duck and Cover, a great game to just have. It's just a deck of 2 decks of cards. Easy to transport.
10 minutes.
I know.
Super quick. Super quick. We played it at TCTC at a little cafe.
Yeah.
Like 6 times that night. So
small footprint. So you just need a little space in front of you for a 4x3 grid of cards. So, and easy to get people to learn how to play.
Good fun.
Yeah. And cute art because each of the decks is different. Yeah. Different theme.
Sweet.
Yeah. So Duck and Cover.
My next one is coming soon.
Oh.
We were, there were a lot of game designers this weekend.
Yeah.
And one of the ones that hit the table is Chicken Fried Dice.
Dang it. I have the same one on my list.
All right. So we can both talk about this one.
Yeah.
All right. Ashwin Kamath and Rob Newton. It is a roll and draft and write.
Yeah, I know.
You own a food truck. You are attempting to please customers by making the things they request, and you do that by plucking dice and using those numbers to fulfill the orders, and then scoring points on several different tracks that way. So it has just variable scoring, so a little point salad in there, which I love because it's always cool to see who goes heavy tips, who goes heavy into collecting symbols, who goes heavy into, upgrading your food truck so you can sauce more stuff or you can put it in the wok and flame it up or whatever. Adorable art. So many different cute characters. I think we spent a lot of time just looking at cards and going, oh, I think that's because Ashwin has had their artist make a lot of board game personalities into these animals too. So it's sometimes just fun to kind of go through and go, I think that might be Emily Vincent with the pink hair. So I thought that was really cool. I feel like a lot of roll and writes don't have a lot of interaction. And while this does have a lot of, you're doing things in front of you directly, and there's not necessarily a board to promote players interacting with each other, there is a common pool of dice that is rolled. So you are trying to reach in and grab in real time things away from each other. We did have a few hand bumps and people like, oh darn, you got the green too, or whatever. But I still think it was competitive, but in a friendly way.
Well, it's real time in a friendly way too. It was a slow real time game, which is
I'm sure there would be folks who would probably try and be faster. But since one of the mechanics with the drafting of the dice, even though it's in real time, is that you have to you physically must pick up the dice, hold it, write it into something and set it down before you're allowed to grab another. It's a great mechanic for slowing folks down so there isn't like this big snatch and grab in the middle and people fighting over things. What did you think about it? Like,
oh gosh, yeah. We are, okay, I know the name is Chicken Fried Dice. We are chickens. We are literally chickens. The food is vegetarians. Okay, we're feeding our animal friends. No chicken is involved. No chickens were harmed in the making of this game.
I love the play on words.
I know, right? And there is a little bit of asymmetry because every truck has different starting dice that everyone has. I feel like it is just a nice puzzle. I mean, don't be afraid of the real time because it's really a minor part of it. There's a bit of comboing that goes on that you can do. And it is all on dry erase boards.
Mm-hmm.
All the cards are dry erase. So while there's a little plastic involved, you're never throwing away anything.
Right.
Which is very lovely.
Yeah. And you don't have to go seek out pencils somewhere in the house. You forgot where they were or anything like that. So I think that's good thought into the development and production of a game is what's the user experience at the end? Are they going to have to go through their house and find writing utensils or paper or, any number of those things, or can they just open the box and play?
There's dice. So there's a lot of dice mitigation where you can change the color, you can reroll, you can actually split a dice into two, which is absolutely lovely. I love when there's dice mitigation in a dice game.
Yes. And I think it's fun. And that's how the game builds. Initially you're only getting a few dice to manipulate, but as you build your truck out, you can turn one dice into two. You can then change the colors of those dice. You'll receive more dice as rewards from completing things on the... So no, like in my first round, last night at the final game we played, I think I was completing 2 customers. And then the last round, I think I managed to complete 9 customers.
Wow. That's
just crazy. With the amount of, and now I've got a reward from this. So I'll put it here and all. That to me is that's probably something I really like the most about the build of that type of roll and write. And just those combos that just chain you into the 4-minute turn where you're just, and now I did this and I get to go do this and I go do this over here. And you feel like an old timey switchboard operator where you're like, oh, this cord goes here and this one goes over here. And now this guy's got this. Yeah. So that's a lot of, I'm also going to say Ashwin showed off some prototypes this weekend. Ashwin is a designer to watch. Yeah. And I will put money right now on maybe the next Knizia. The things that he comes up with are so different, but so accessible that it does not take very long for you to be just engrossed, whether it is and he had a drawing game he showed us all at OrcaCon. That was super interesting and played a whole crowd of folks, which was interesting to see. And was not, I think drawing games have a big line of people really like them or really don't like them based on whether or not they think they can draw. And this was one that really crossed that line because you didn't have to have any skill whatsoever to do things. He had a little modular game out this weekend. He had a couple of different card games this weekend and everything from deeply thematic to abstract. Love the way his mind works coming with game design and stuff. So seriously, Ashwin Kamath, man, y'all give him a follow here on BGG because he's going to be doing some really freaky great things. So Chicken Fried Dice.
You can follow them on urbanprofessionalgames.com. And I'll put a link into the description as well. But look out for Chicken Fried Dice on the crowdfunding from Ashwin and his partner from Urban Professional Games. Both of us really like to playtest his games, and we played different iterations of this game, and he's great at also feedback and incorporating.
He receives feedback so well and is so thoughtful about the way that it could change what he's done. There's a special type of humility in having a very creative brain, but being able to say, you're right, that part could be changed and that could make it a better thing and not just trying to hold on to it and going, no, it's mine and I made it and it's perfect the way it is. So, and I think it makes him a better game designer because of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
So follow Urban Professional Games, and I'll just say that he is part of the Flat Out collab. So be aware that some of his development work and his design work will be in some of the Flat Out games coming out in the future.
Nice.
Yes. So Chicken Fried Dice on both of our lists. Do you want to go again or should I go?
I'm going to go again.
Go again.
All right. Our wrap-up game last night was Let's Go to Japan.
Yeah. Actually, no. Our wrap-up game was still Clover.
Okay. I'm going to get to that, though.
Okay.
Our second to... Our penultimate.
There you go.
Penultimate wrap-up game was Let's Go to Japan. And I liked it the first time I played it, and last night it was even more beautiful because it was the end of the con. There were only 4 of us left. You know, the room's wrecked. There's food everywhere.
Yeah,
There's tables everywhere. We put on a little Miyazaki on YouTube, and we just made beautiful plans to go on a trip.
Yeah.
And it is so evocative of its theme.
Yeah.
It integrates the theme so well into what you're playing that you are always thinking, you know how with a lot of games, I mean, even with Ghost Lift, it's a ghost in an elevator, you're going up and down, but you're not thinking that when you're laying the numbers down. You're thinking, I need a 2, you know? With Let's Go to Japan, you are thinking about going to Japan the entire time, whether or not you're choosing a card, whether or not you're laying down a token. Everything is about the trip that you are planning. And it's just so beautifully designed in that way to just evoke the feeling of this trip to Japan, of what it's like to plan a trip, of vacations, of holidays, of how that makes you feel when you get to go on vacation. And then I am a big fan, as are you, of like reading through the vacations at the end. So we're all learning things about Japan. As well as going through, you know, I'm not sure. It's really funny to see how people lay theirs out and then imagine what a vacation like that would truly be. Because our friend Sean, I think, visited
so many temples.
And took so many walks, right? Which was such a big difference to Ben, who probably ate every food imaginable, right? And just shopped till he dropped. So another interesting look into the mind of someone that you love. It's you know, if you were planning a vacation, what would you do? Walk and see temples. Eat the hell out of everything.
And it's great when we, on the same day, just happened to pick the same places. And we're like, we met up there and they met up there. You know, it was like, that
was so good. I love that it turns people that even wouldn't call themselves storytellers into a storyteller. Because everyone starts to elaborate even just a little bit on, like, in the morning I walked by this shrine and that was where they have the little reading cats, and it's so good. It's just such a peaceful, cozy kind of game, but has just enough going on that it doesn't feel overly simple or anything like that. So beautifully designed, and I am really sorry, y'all. I can't remember who the designer is.
Joshua.
Is that Joshua?
Yeah.
All right. Good job. Josh does some good design work.
From AG.
Let's go to Japan. Like, if you want to plan a vacation, even if you don't want to plan a vacation, buy it anyway. Get it anyway. Go to your library, check out a copy, play it with friends, drink some tea.
Drafting, tableau builder, lovely.
Yeah. Good game.
I playtested that one, and I'm currently playtesting Let's Go to France.
Oh, interesting.
It's going to be different.
I'm still going to just eat on my way through.
I know, you're way through France.
Now it's all pastry.
That is Let's Go to Japan from AEG. Yeah, absolutely. This next one is, I blame Beth Sobel. Like 100%.
We blame Beth Sobel for a lot.
A lot. Yes.
I adore Beth, and we are great friends, but also she is my villain origin story.
You would think with all the cute games she did art for Flat Out, that she is this lovely human out there baking in the Northwest, just lovely put around human being. No, she is competitive. She will stab you in the back, you know.
Beth Sobel is a traitor, y'all.
I know.
Here for
any social deduction game, just blame Beth. No, I'm just kidding. But this is a team game, and she showed it to me at, I think, OracleCon. And then I wanted it, and then she brought it, of course, and it's out of print. But now, guess what? It's getting reprinted by CMYK under the name Duos.
Oh, interesting.
With slightly different rules, because the original team play from Schmidt-Spiel is for 3 to 6 players, but now Duos is only for 2 or 4 players.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
It's an interesting player count for that.
Yeah, because you are in teams. You're trying to fulfill your objectives by playing out cards. All you're going to do is take 2 cards from the center, either top of the deck or from the market. And then you're trying to either fulfill yours or the public one, but then you can give up to 2 cards to your teammate so that they can fulfill theirs. It is a really fun game. I hope Duo's art is a little bit better than the original.
It has the vibe of its period. It looks like Phase 10, Uno, etc. So some good art, I think, would be beneficial.
Yeah. And it's by Johannes Schmidargong. I cannot say that. I do apologize. But yes, please go check it out. Duos from CMYK is how you can get it right now.
CMYK is producing some really good stuff lately. Yeah.
They're reprinting a lot of older games that are out of print that are just great.
Yeah, which is usually like a little twist, like better art or changing just a small rule. I think it's an interesting way to curate publishing.
Yeah.
To take kind of old favorites and bring them back up for a modern audience. So
and it's more card games, like Restoration Games is doing that for the big board games, right? But then they're doing it for more card games. But they do have other games that are like, I think there's a racing game that's really good that people think it's a lighter version of Ready, Set, Bet because you're betting on the racers and then it's just like it runs itself. So it's kind of fun. But it's also their card games are in a specific box size that look kind of like books and it like fits so nicely on the shelf.
Oh, I love that.
There's so much empty space in it though. At the same time, and like, do you want your shelf to look very nice and uniform, or do you want efficiency in your space management?
That's a topic for a whole nother podcast.
That is true.
Like, just how you organize your collection, I think, says a lot about you.
That's also true.
She says judgingly.
Yeah, I know. Oh, do you have one more game for us?
I do. Yeah. I have my final, and you already know what it is.
Yeah.
It is So Clover. So Clover probably got to the table as much as, or maybe even more than Crokinole. If you haven't played it before, it's like just one on speed. So instead of having one word that you're attempting to convey to people, you have combinations of 2 words, and then you're going to have 4 of those combinations as they're laid out in a square. You're going to write 1-word clues for the combination of those 2 words, and then take all the cards off the board, and all your friends are going to have to guess what that was.
Yeah.
So maybe, for example, you have whale and joke, and maybe what you come up with in your head is the dick from Moby Dick. So, which I'm using as an example because that happens.
I feel like my tomato tunnel.
Tomato tunnel, penne pasta as tomato tunnel was probably my other favorite from this weekend because it immediately, as soon as we saw that, we were like, that's got to be it.
Yeah.
That's got to be it. Yeah. It is so fun both to look at the words that someone has created based on the combination of cards and see how they think about things. Yeah. What meanings of words do they put together? Because there's a lot of these words have multiple meanings. There would be like bar, which could be you drink at, or could be because you're an attorney, or could be something because you're closing it out, or it could be whatever. And to watch what people put as their clue to help you understand it is really, really interesting. I'm going to say interesting a lot in this one because it is. Because it makes me understand people more. It makes me understand people I love more, which is such a which is something I love understanding my friends more. And So Clover is just a great one, not just for a casual end of the evening. We're just sitting here. It's not competitive. It's fully cooperative. It's very, whose line is it? The points don't matter. Yeah. Like, nobody's really keeping score. You're just learning a lot about your friends and your friends' brains. Yeah. Or you're trying to make your friends laugh by writing something super humorous down. Figuring out whether or not you can play to someone in particular with some weird deep lore knowledge that they have.
Yeah.
But a couple of those where we just go down a rabbit hole and maybe somebody was really into Steven Universe. So it's like, okay, we're going to write this down because that person's going to know immediately what this is.
And the rest of us are like, what?
Yeah, right. Right. But when that one person gets it, you feel good because you kind of spoke to them and said, I see this in you and I know you love this and I want to recognize that I know that about you. So I think there's there's a lot of value in that as well as helping people be seen when we're gaming. And I think party games do that in a really good way. I know party games kind of become I think a lot of people in the community kind of look down on party games as just like, oh, something you do to keep people entertained while you're doing something else. But I think the biggest value in party games is it's a good way to let everybody shine a little bit.
That's true.
It's a good way to recognize people, the things that make them feel smart or the things that make them happy.
Yeah.
And I think So Clover does that in a really beautiful way.
I agree with you, but also it made me realize that I am definitely a words of affirmation. Whenever y'all are like, oh, that was smart, I'm like, yes.
I was
like, yeah, no, exactly. The little me is like, do. Yeah, and I didn't realize how much words of affirmation really affected me as a love language to receive love, because I feel like my love language of giving love is different than what I receive, because I'm a physical gift giver. Yeah. That's my love language. But receiving, I didn't realize so much it was, words of affirmation. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's true.
I think it might be a little true of everybody.
That's true. Yeah.
Just largely because we aren't programmed in our society to talk to people like that. We don't, particularly as Americans, I think, we reserve things like I love you for just romantic situations or praise for like really big deals, right? The whole, I don't want to give somebody 5 stars because there's always room for improvement. Right? I don't want to tell my friend they're super smart but tell your friend that they're super smart. Absolutely. Because they're probably not your friend if they aren't super smart. You can do that.
Yeah, it's an easy thing, and I think people forget it, but it's definitely, absolutely. Yeah, and I don't mind house rules. I think anything that makes a game more fun for you to play, do it.
Sure.
And we had the house rule for So Clover where we just mulligan. We can mulligan once.
Once. If there were just there was a combination on your board that either could be a little offensive or was just so mind-blowingly hard, especially at 1 o'clock in the morning when, you've been gaming all day and it's like, I can't put these 2 words together to save my life. I think if you have fewer than 6 people, you should always play So Clover.
Yeah, there you go. And my last game is Menagerie, Unlock the Wonders of a Miniature World from Moose Games by Fertessa Elise, Prospero Hall, and David Lizzie. I apologize again. But it's for 1 to 4 players. Art is amazing by Vincent Cardona. The artwork, the insects. It's just a beautiful game. Drafting, resource management, asymmetrical player powers. Of course, we had the designer for Tessa teach us all.
I need to put that should have been on my list too. But I have played it a couple of times now. It's
such a good one.
Fortessa's another one of those designers to watch.
Yeah.
Everything, and hers are also wildly different.
Oh, yeah.
Mansplaining what Wicked and Wise and this and the Star Trek Cryptid. She's done so many good things. But Menagerie, I think maybe her favorite of mine to date.
Yeah?
To date. Ask me again in 2 years when there's more of her stuff out there.
Yeah.
But she just makes things that you want to play again. As soon as you finish, you're like, I need to play this again, right now. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Menagerie's beautiful too.
Yeah, and she's also part of the Flat Out collab. And it's always a great time with you, AnnaMaria. Thank you so much for joining me for this.
Thank you for asking me. I love you.
Yeah, I love you too. It's a wonderful time, and you'll see more from Violet Daisy Games in the future. It's going to be wonderful.
And more from Amanda.
So where can people find you on the interwebs?
We're at Violet Daisy Games. You know better than I do. Facebook, Instagram.
Yes.
We're on Blue Sky, right?
Yes, Blue Sky, yes.
And there's a website, Violet Daisy Games, and you can see everything that we've done there.
Yeah, sign up for the newsletter if you want.
Absolutely, and certainly follow all the artists and designers that we've worked with, and follow Amanda. She's doing all sorts of crazy, great things in this industry.
Oh, thank you. And you have your own personal social media as well, full of Juniper and Primrose.
That's right. If you want to see my dogs, AnnaMaria Phelps on Instagram.
And You do a lot of community work too.
I run the games program for the Northwest Indian College here locally outside of Bellingham on the Lummi Land, and it's a fantastic program. We've had a lot of amazing publishers donate games to the library so that the community, not just the kids at the university, but the community at large can go in and borrow games. And I've just been going and like teaching these games so that I feel like our industry is, I don't want to say insular, but if you don't grow up playing games, if you weren't in a family playing games or maybe exposed to them in school, you don't know what's out there.
Yeah.
It has been a privilege for me to have this opportunity to kind of bring these things in and then be like, this is a role-playing game and this is a family game or a party game. And it has been a joy to watch these kids, like, the moment it clicks, and then everybody's standing up at a flip 7 table just screaming at each other to keep going or whatever. At that point, like, my heart, it's very full, and it's an amazing, amazing program. So if you're a publisher with games and you'd like to send something to the Northwest Indian College, send me an email, send me a BGG message or something like that. I'd love to hook you up with them.
Yeah, and I love like programs like this that reach out to the community. I think we need to have more of that throughout the world. You know, that'd be awesome. Thank you, AnnaMaria.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Board Game Geek podcast, produced and edited by Amanda Wong. Be sure to visit us on the web at BoardGameGeek.com. You can also find us on YouTube, X, Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok under Board Game Geek, and Twitch under Board Game Geek TV. You can reach us by email via podcast at BoardGameGeek.com. Thanks for listening and happy gaming.